Okay, so we are interviewing Priscilla Martinez, who is a recruiter for engineering students with a master's in, I believe, biomedical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So, to start off, I suppose I'll ask, how did you get where you are?
How did I get where I am? I always like biology and I like math. So it was a perfect mix to just study biomedical engineering.
Okay.
And yes.
Okay, so I was going to ask, what exactly do you do with biomedical engineering? So, like, what's specific to that field?
Well, in biomedical engineering, you have different areas. You have tissue engineering, medical imaging, and there's also biomechanics. Here at UTA, we have tissue engineering and instrumentation. I studied tissue engineering, and it just deals with, it's such a big title, and it has different things that you can work on. You can study machines that filter blood. You can study drug delivery systems so that they're more specific and so that they deliver drugs at a certain rate. You can also study neurobiology, and you study how neurons grow, and if there's an injury, how you can help it regenerate. Or you can also study how cancer travels. So they give you all the skills necessary to just find a problem in the human body, something that is interest to you, something that you want to help people in, and then you emphasize on it.
Okay. So, I guess that covers what kind of job tasks you perform for the most part, and you specifically, actually recruit engineers.
Yes, because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Engineering is it's a very beautiful field, and it's not it's very interconnected. So if you like the body and you also really like how things work, how things travel, how air flows, how fluids flow, how machines work, or how you can design machines that you can place in the body, then you can do mechanical engineering and biomedical engineering. There's nothing that really limits us. If you want to help people, you can also do computer science, and you can design prosthetics, and you can find a way for people to be able to control those prosthetics. You can also study electrical engineering and help people with the body. So you don't really have to do one of, like, you don't have to limit yourself by one field. You can study one engineering and work in an area, in many different areas.
Okay. Because there are so many branches of engineering. That's actually really one thing that makes it difficult to choose, to really decide on. And that's kind of been one of my problems. Like, what would you say to people like me, like, that have so many problems, like trying to figure out what branch of engineering they want?
Well, in engineering, they're so interconnected. You kind of just have to find something that you want to do, like an end goal. And like if you, to decide, let me think about this more carefully. When you come into the engineering program, you're going to have an introduction to engineering class, and it's going to introduce you to different aspects of it. And then you can decide, but sometimes you're going to find yourself, you're going to take classes in electrical and mechanical and some in civil, and you're just going to realize that you're just really, really good at this kind of class.
Okay.
And this class is like, oh, I can do it, I have to do it, but I don't really enjoy it. And that's what pretty much happened to me. Like when I took Physics 1 and I took Physics 2, I love Physics 1, but Physics 2 was a little bit more challenging and not as enjoyable.
Okay.
And the Physics 1, you deal more with mechanics, kinematics. So that's more in the mechanical area. And when I took heat transfer and mechanical classes, I was just like, oh, this is so lovely. But when I took linear system, which is electrical, it was like, oh, I don't really like it. So once you start taking classes, you're going to be introduced and you're going to find your strengths. And again, they're so interconnected, so you're not limited. You can do two engineerings if you like them. Some of them are really close together, like mechanical and aerospace, that you can do together.
Right. Okay. So, As far as like degrees and certifications, like what kind of degrees does the engineering field really offer for the most part?
You, some, you can do your bachelor's and get a job afterwards. You don't have to continue to your master's or PhD.
Okay.
The good thing about doing your master's is that you can specialize in a specific area. So if you do civil engineering, it's very broad. You're introduced to water systems, structures, you're introduced to all this kind of things. But when you do your master's, that's when you realize, oh, I just want to work to make sure our water is clean, or I just want to make sure our structures are stable. So that's when you really get the juice out of it.
Okay, so
But
so your bachelor's is kind of like the general, like broad thing, like it's more of the broad view, and then when you do your master's, it's more specific.
It's more specific, yes. And then after you work for a certain amount, you can start taking, even before you graduate, you can start taking your exam to be a professional engineer. And then you have to work a certain amount of years, and then you take the second part. So there's always certifications that you can do, and but the most important thing would be your professional engineer's exam.
Right.
PE exam.
Okay, well, I think that about does it. So thank
Okay.
you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.